Smart Selection is a new type of selection filter that has been added to the component thickness form. Smart Selection allows us to create model selection recipes based upon either the colour, the level or the model name within the Powermill project. An example of Smart Selection would be to machine all surfaces which are red and on level 15. Another example would be to collision check with a thickness of 5 mm all surfaces in the model called clamps. The big benefit of Smart Selection is that the Smart Selection information is stored with the toolpath template. This means that if we use the same colour convention and model naming convention and level naming convention on all our parts, when we read in a new part, the toolpath template will automatically set up the component thicknesses used in the Smart Selection. Let's open an example project and have a look how we use Smart Selection. Here we have an aerostructure part, and you can see we've set up the part using multiple colours, and we've also got a series of clamps around the outside of the part. Now those clamps are stored on a separate level called clamps, and we've got a pre-created roughing toolpath that has been batched and ready to calculate. I'm going to go into this toolpath, into the settings, and we're going to set up the component thickness using Smart Selection. So we're going to go into component thickness form, and there we can see a new button called Smart Selection. So we select our component set as previous, set whether we want to collision, ignore or machine. In this case I'm going to set it to collision, and I'm going to add an extra thickness of 5 mm. The reason for this is I want to collision check the clamps and I want the tool to stay well away from those clamps. So now we're going to go into the Smart Selection, and I want to select by level, and the level is called clamps, and we're going to move that across into our selection filter, and you can see the clamps have been highlighted indicating those are now selected. So I'm going to apply that, and then I'm going to go to the second component set. I'm going to leave this set to machining, but I'm going to add an extra 1 mm on top of the default 0.5 mm, and this time I want to leave that extra 1 mm on all the flat surfaces at the base of the pockets, so all the orange surfaces. So back into our Smart Selection filter, and this time we're going to select by colour, and we're going to select the colour orange and move that across, and there you can see all those flat bases have been highlighted. So we're going to apply that and close. So that's the component thickness is already set up using Smart Selection. So we're going to accept that and calculate the toolpath. So there's the toolpath calculated, and if we just take a look from above and we zoom in and I attach the tool somewhere here, we can see the 5 mm clearance we've put around the clamps. And if I zoom in here and select the bottom pass on the pocket and go to my view pick Z heights, you can see that is at 1.5 mm. As mentioned previously, the big advantage of using Smart Selection is that the Smart Selection information is stored with the toolpath template. Okay, so let's save out this roughing template. So I'm going to save into the same directory as the project. So I'm going to call it Aerostructure Roughing. And if we now delete all, so get rid of everything we've created, and load in a different model this time. So we're going to import a model. Again, we're going to import the model from the same directory. So it's a similar type of part. It's an aerostructure part with thin wall sections, but it's obviously a completely different shape. And we have our green clamps around the outside. This time we only have 4 clamps on either, 2 on either end. And also the bases of the pockets are coloured orange as previously. So we've used the same convention for surface colours and for level structure. So we have our level called clamps again. So let's switch off the clamps for a second, and we're just going to set up our block. So we're going to calculate the block, accept. Just going to reset my safe working height, safe Z heights. And now I'm going to load in the template I saved earlier. If I go back into the component thickness now, you can see that it has automatically inherited the smart selection. So just to double check that, if we highlight the collision thickness set 1 and go to smart selection, you can see it's set to clamps. So all the clamps have been selected. And for component set number 2, the selection filter is set to dark orange, so all the flat bases have been selected. So if we go ahead and calculate that now, so let's cancel that and have a look at the toolpath a bit closely. Let's attach the tool. So there we have the 5mm clearance again. And the base of these pockets is at Z12.5. We can see that from the readout in the bottom left corner. And if I select the last pass on that pocket, it's at Z14, which is the 12.5 plus the 1.5 thickness. So to summarise, Smart Selection allows us to store model selection recipes that are saved with the toolpath template, which can be used on every part we import, thus automating the machining process.